Pokémon Legends Z-A is the gaming equivalent of paying for a full meal and getting a sample tray. And the wild part, people will still argue it tastes amazing because it has a Pokémon logo on it. Meanwhile, Digimon Story Time Stranger pulls up like, oh, you wanted content, systems, effort, voice acting. So today I'm doing the comparison that's going to start fights. Digimon is the better buy and Pokémon is coasting. I'm comparing these as base games, as a buyer. Not which franchise is bigger, not which one has more childhood nostalgia, but which game respects your time and money. And yes, critics were fairly close. Digimon sits at a 78 Metascore, Pokémon at 77, but the player reaction, that's the story, and it's brutal. Time Stranger is turn-based, and I know some people hear that and go old, but here's what I found reading reviews. People keep praising the depth and how modern it feels. I read a Digimon user review that straight up said it's better than the newer Pokémon games, and that it introduces newcomers really well. I also read another one saying the gameplay has depth, the story is more mature, and the voiceover makes it feel like playing an anime. That anime thing matters, because presentation is part of the experience. More on that later. Now, Pokémon Legends Z-A goes real time, and that could have been an all-time glow-up. But if you scroll to Z-A user reviews, a bunch of them read like cool concept, rough execution, why does this feel unfinished? And here's the savage take, Pokémon keeps evolving the battle system like it's innovation, but sometimes it just feels like they moved the same problems into a new room. Digimon's loop feels like a proper monster RPG loop. Train, Digivolve, build a team, try weird combos, get reward for actually understanding the systems. And it's not just me saying it. Reviewers call it a must-play, praising the complexity of Digivolution and personality systems. Even critics, who still scored it well, mentioned the main knocks are pacing and backtracking, not that the core is broken. Now, I'm going to be extra honest, so nobody can call this a paid Digimon ad. I also read Digimon users complaining about grindy recruitment, time travel backtracking, and camera issues from big Digimon following you around. So, yes, it has flaws, but they're the kind of flaws that come from a game having a lot going on, not from a game feeling like it's missing parts. Z-A's identity is Lumio's city, all in, that's bold. But when I went through the negative reviews, I kept seeing the same complaints. Repetitive structure, lack of gameplay, variety, combat/camera frustration, and the feeling that the game doesn't justify the premium vibe. I read one Z-A review that literally said, worst Pokemon game I ever played, save your money and don't buy it. Story is dull, combat is clunky as hell, and another one that's basically pure rage. Unfinished game, trash DLC, almost like scam, I wouldn't play for free. Now, before the defenders jump in, yes, I also saw positive reviews. I read one saying they're adjusting to the controls, but the graphics are smooth and the story is good so far, so it's not everyone hates it. It's that the backlash is big and loud for a reason. Time Stranger gets praised for a more mature tone. I saw user reviews describing heavy themes like grief and loss, and also praising how the NPCs feel like they have their own urgency. That's huge, because monster RPG stories can be, go here, beat boss, collect badge forever. Pokemon Z-A, look, Pokemon writing has always been simple, but Z-A's critics and users are split on whether the story earns the runtime, and here's my spicy line. Pokemon is the only RPG franchise that can feel both over-explained and underwritten at the same time. If that offends you, good, tell me why it's wrong. This is where Digimon starts flexing. I read Digimon reviews praising the voice acting and calling it like playing an anime. That's not a tiny feature, that's production value. That changes how the story lands. Now, Pokemon. This is the part that always makes people mad, because it's hard to defend without doing gymnastics. How does the biggest monster franchise in gaming still feel like it's rationing production value? And I'm not even pulling that out of thin air. Even a critic review on Metacritic basically points out Game Freak keeps experimenting while acting like it can sell millions with minimal effort, calling that a shame because it could have been more. So yeah, here's the comment grenade. Pokemon doesn't get criticized because people hate it. Pokemon gets criticized because it charges premium and fans expect premium. To keep it fair, Digimon has some ugly commentary too. I read a Digimon user review calling the monetization inexcusable and saying it felt like paying full price for a store. So no, Digimon is not a perfect angel, but Z-A's DLC complaints are arriving alongside a much larger wave of disappointment, and people are using words like trash DLC and scam when a game is already controversial. DLC becomes gasoline. Alright, UK pricing, because which should I buy, is a money question. On PlayStation UK, Digimon Story Time Stranger Standard Edition is £43.99, discounted from £54.99 on my Nintendo store. UK Pokémon Legends Z-A Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is £58.99. So one game is cheaper right now and has massively stronger user reception. That's why my advice is blunt: buy Digimon first. And here's the savage question for the comments: why is the cheaper game the one that feels like it tried harder? Let me be clear, Pokemon isn't going anywhere. It's Pokemon. But ZA's user response is a big flashing sign that says goodwill isn't infinite. When I read comments like, well, so played every Pokemon game, I regret all my investment into this franchise from this one game. That's not normal complaining. That's a fan snapping. So when I say sinking ship, I don't mean sales, I mean the vibe, the trust, the feeling that the franchise is hungry right now. It feels like Pokemon is comfortable, and comfort is how you get passed by. So here's how it is. Digimon Story Time Stranger user score 9.2 with 92% positive turn-based combat that players call deep and modern presentation that gets praised. Voice acting / anime feel. Some complaints: pacing, backtracking, monetization. Pokémon Legends Z-A critics landed mostly positive. Metascore 77. Some players genuinely love it. User score 4.7 with 53% negative repetitiveness, clunky feeling, unfinished accusations, DLC anger. So yeah, I got Digimon first. Pokemon can be fine, but fine at premium price is exactly why people are furious. If you're mad, perfect. Tell me this in the comments: if Pokemon Legends Z-A wasn't called Pokemon, would you still defend it this hard? And if your answer is yes, then cool, sell me on it. But if your answer is no, then you already know why Digimon is winning this round. If you like this video, hit that like. If not, hit that dislike, you Pokemon fanboys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.